Yeah, so we have discussed ad nauseum the Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco quarterback conundrum that the Browns are currently facing. And we've talked at length who we think will start X amount of games. How many will Shedeur start? How many will Dillon start? So I asked you guys on Monday, this is good producing on my end, what you guys thought was the most games any of the rookie quarterbacks, either Shedeur or Dillon, could play this season for the Cleveland Browns. You guys all gave me different answers, so I took the average, which came down to 6. 6 games.
Right.
So what I did was I took a plethora of quarterbacks over the last 2 decades, give or so.
Real big words here.
Smorgasbord in the pre-show meeting, plethora here, and took the stats from the first 6 games.
We had a pre-show meeting?
That they started in their NFL careers. So I wanted to see, is it fair to make an evaluation and determination on whether or not a quarterback could be your guy or could not be your guy based off just 6 starts. So
I think we already know the answer to that, but this is a fun
I made blind resumes, so I will show you the first 6.
I hope you got Peyton Manning on there.
Maybe, maybe not.
Okay.
So I'll show you their first stats from their first 6 starts, and you guys got to tell me, I would commit to that guy long term, or I need more information. Okay?
Okay.
There's a bunch of these.
We know the answer to these.
There's a bunch of them.
All right.
We'll run through some, and then we'll discuss, and then we'll run through some more. So we'll run through a couple of these quick.
Yeah.
Steve, let's see the first blind resume here. Would you guys commit long term to a quarterback that in his first 6 starts went 2-4, completed 58.3% of his passes, threw for just shy of 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns to 6 picks with a quarterback rating of 78.9?
I'm ignoring the records.
I'm not looking at the
records.
record
are meaningless. Let's see. You said 6 games.
When you say commit long term, what do you mean?
I don't know when. By the way, it depends on the era, right? Because years ago, 58% is not terrible.
These are
now
all
it's
within
terrible.
the last 20 years.
Okay.
One maybe a little further.
I mean, I think there's enough that I'd want to see more. I wouldn't give up on a guy with those numbers.
Are you
6 games.
So let me get this right. Are you asking us? Will we take this quarterback, or will we use the first round pick next year on the quarterback? Is that what's
basically? Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Tyvus. If this was the resume for Shedeur or Dillon Gabriel, would you feel confident entering 2026 with that guy and these numbers as
confident? No. How could you?
I wouldn't be confident.
No.
This is because I need to see what it looked like. Like, all right, he's 58%.
Hey, listen, Mike set up this game. Let's go with
drops? It's a lot of things that go into this.
Here's the thing. To me, the biggest factor, or one of the big factors on whether the Browns will take a quarterback in the first round next year, has more to do with who's available than how these guys played.
Or would they?
Most likely, because most likely neither one of them will have the time to do enough that would make us certain to stick with them. Most likely.
And I think
so. Then it depends on, did they play well enough? The guy we could take is not that special.
I think what this whole exercise is going to show us is 6 games isn't a big enough sample size to make any kind of real determination.
So to answer your question,
yes or no,
to play your game, I would stick with him. Yep.
I think the best thing to do, Mike, in my opinion, sorry to change your game, is say stick, want to see more, or move on.
Okay, perfect.
Well, every last one of them is want to see more.
Well, but whatever. I mean,
so then you can't juxtapose it against taking a first quarterback with the first round pick.
Yeah.
Because sure, I look at those numbers and say I want to see more.
Right.
But if there's a quarterback at the top of the next draft
that's really good. You broke your glass.
I did. Gosh dang.
Take out the want to see more. It's either yes or no.
All right. No, I'm not sticking with this guy. No.
I'd stick with him.
Jason? He's dealing with his glasses. All right, let's see who this quarterback is, Steve. This quarterback is...
I was thinking.
Baker Mayfield. Baker's first 6 starts in Cleveland. All right, next one.
And again, that's a good one, because with Baker, it depends who the quarterback is. Right? Because
you talking about in the draft?
To me, there is a line of quarterbacks where I think I can win a championship with this quarterback. And in my opinion, he's below the line. Just below the line. I think he's near the top below the line. Like, maybe if everything was perfect around him, maybe.
That's my good idea.
But anyway, there you go.
That's how you
All right,
next.
next one. Steve, let's see the next blind resume. This next quarterback also went 2-4, completed 62.3% of his passes, threw for 1,449 yards, 10 touchdowns to 7 picks, and a quarterback rating of 84.4.
I mean, that's
much better.
similar. It's
better.
not that much different than the other one, but a little better.
A little better.
I'd probably would stick with this guy.
Stick for Bull, stick for Tyvus. Jason.
You're telling me I have to pick that or take a quarterback in the first round?
Yeah,
That's the question.
It's a rough exercise.
That's the question.
My answer is probably going to be take a quarterback in the first round.
And it's probably the right call.
For everyone, because 6 games isn't enough. But go ahead. I'm going to say take a quarterback in the first round.
So Jason's not sticking. Bull and Tyvus are sticking. This quarterback was Daniel Jones.
Oh, I made the right decision.
Nice call. I should have known it was going to be because Baker was first. I should have known it was going to be a bum quarterback after that.
All right, next up, Steve. Next blind resume. First 6 games of this quarterback's career, he
That's
went 1-5,
terrible.
53.8% completion percentage, 1,364 yards, 6 touchdowns, 14 interceptions.
There's no way you could be
and a
confident.
I'm
quarterback
sticking with
rating
him
of
because that's Josh Allen.
55.7. It is not Josh Allen.
It's
Josh
not,
Allen's
no.
on this list.
You know who I
Peyton
think it
Manning.
is? I think I know who it is. I think it's Jared Goff.
Jared Goff's also on this list. It is not Jared
Not
Goff.
Jared
Is
Goff.
it Peyton Manning?
Peyton Manning.
It is Peyton Manning.
It is Peyton Manning.
So, yeah.
I knew it was going to be like some stud.
All right, next up then, next blind resume. This quarterback went 2-4.
But by the way, Peyton Manning's numbers were terrible, obviously.
Were terrible,
Yes.
turned out to be good. This quarterback
That's
did win 2
terrible,
games.
too.
His numbers are hideous.
Went sub 50, 5 touchdowns, 4 picks, 78.4% quarterback rating.
All right, I'm not sticking with this
I'm
guy,
not sticking with him either.
obviously.
Drew Brees.
Yeah.
3 no sticks.
I mean,
Well,
under
sometimes the
50%.
first 6 games are a good representation of the quarterback because this quarterback was Johnny Football.
Oh, wow.
I can't believe it was even that. He threw more touchdowns than interceptions.
I agree. I
did.
thought those numbers would be worse than that.
I mean, the percentage is hideous.
Horrendous.
But he was that first game against the Bengals. That was as bad as I've ever seen a quarterback play.
Can I introduce you to Dorian Thompson-Robinson?
I mean,
No, he wasn't that bad.
I need to-
I mean, come on.
I need to
DTR
go-
in his career has 1 touchdown, 10 picks.
All right,
That's a shame.
Mike, did you watch that game when Johnny Manziel played his first
I don't.
game?
I'm not into
What
enough
was
detail.
worse, Johnny Manziel?
That was so long ago that
That
I
was
don't
the worst-
remember.
The only thing I remember about Manziel is throwing the ball over his head
I mean,
backwards.
I
That's what
remember
about-
that.
that's what
I do
about
remember
Like,
that.
the Bengals went in that game. They wanted to humiliate him. I remember that. Like they were and they weren't that. I don't know. He was the worst ever.
All right, next
Total
up, next
bum.
blind resume here. This next quarterback did not win a game in his first 6 starts.
That's
Josh
Jared
Allen.
Goff.
Josh Allen.
Jared Goff.
You guys are both incorrect. This
Josh
quarterback,
Allen didn't throw that many more interceptions than picks at his start.
we'll get to Josh
Other than
Allen. He is
touchdowns.
on this
This
list, I
is
promise.
absolutely horrendous.
Is that Troy Aikman?
It is not. These are all more recent than Troy Aikman.
Okay.
This is horrendous.
I mean, obviously you wouldn't stick with that.
So you guys wouldn't stick with
And
that.
it's a good player, I'm
Because you
sure.
didn't stick with that, you would have missed out on 2 Super Bowl rings. Because this is Eli Manning,
Wow. I would
who
not
was
have guessed
god
that.
awful.
I would
And is
not
the
have guessed
most,
that.
maybe the most overrated quarterback in the history of the sport.
I agree.
Shut your mouth. All right, next up. What would you guys
Very
do with
good
this next
quarterback, not a Hall
quarterback?
of
Good
Famer.
numbers. He went 2-4 through 65.5%
Oh, yeah. Those are
good
completion
numbers.
percentage.
No
1,600
chance this
yards.
guy's any good.
Not at all, but I'm definitely sticking
I mean,
with
you'd
it.
stick with it with those numbers, but there's no chance he's a good player.
Is that
Jared Goff.
No, Jared Goff got off to a bad start.
Did he? Oh, yeah, he was with the Rams. They weren't
Yeah.
good that year. I remember
He
that.
stunk
That
early
was the
that
year Sherm
So
had
this
knocked
quarterback
about the
did
game.
get off to a very good statistical start.
Yeah.
He had maybe the greatest debut in the history of the NFL,
What?
where he threw 5 touchdowns, no picks, and had a legitimately perfect quarterback rating.
Robert Griffin III.
He played he played a different quarterback, not Robert Griffin III. This quarterback is, Steve, Marcus Mariota.
wow.
Oh my God! Well, he was a top pick. I mean,
He
he
was
started
the second pick.
He was okay his first couple of
Yeah,
years.
and
He went to Tennessee, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and he beat Jameis Winston in his first game, and he
That's
had
right.
5 touchdowns and
Yeah.
a 158.3 quarterback
That's pretty much
rating.
all downhill from there.
Yeah.
Next up,
Peaked early.
Yeah.
in our blind resume game, this quarterback went 1-5. 58.5% passing, 1,847
Now that's
yards.
Jared Allen. That's Josh Allen.
It's not Josh Allen.
Ah!
I swear to you,
Is it
Josh
Jared
Allen
Goff?
is on this list. This was Josh Allen a little before Josh Allen.
The yardage is actually good, but probably because they were
Josh
behind.
Freeman.
No. This quarterback actually in his first 2 games set I'm not sure if it still stands.
This
but
is actually fun just trying to guess who the guys are. Right?
He set
We've
the
totally
passing
destroyed
yards
Mike's
record
Yes,
for a
yes.
rookie quarterback in his first 2 games for a guy who, coming out of college, was not known for throwing the football.
Justin Herbert?
Tim Tebow.
Number 1 overall pick.
What?
Wasn't known for throwing the football, and he was a number 1 overall pick.
Steve, show him who it is.
Kyler Murray?
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton.
Cam Fig Newton.
All right, we keep it going. Next up, Steve, blind resume. This quarterback did go 4-2. 10
good.
touchdowns to just 4 picks. A 91.4 quarterback rating. 63.2% completion percentage.
That's pretty good. That's really good. You can
1,273
stick
yards.
with that.
That's just, no, I'm just playing. No, I definitely would ride with that one.
That's
Was this a first-round pick?
This guy actually was not a first-round pick.
Jalen Hurts.
That's what I was thinking.
Russell Wilson.
Dak?
This is
Dakota Prescott.
the GOAT. Thomas James.
Yeah.
All right, next up. We're just going to keep rolling. I got a bunch of these. This quarterback went 3-3, 53.8% completion percentage, 918
that's
yards,
terrible.
3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions,
That's awful.
66.1%.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking Arch Manning in the first round.
Yeah.
So that means, Tyvis, you would take Arch Manning
Oh,
over.
wait. Let's guess. Josh Allen.
It is Josh
By the way, I got a clue because
hilarious.
Mike started to say that's because you would take Arch Manning. Oh, the way you said that, I knew it had to be somebody good.
We'll keep it rolling.
Thank God we got him
Keep it
on.
rolling. To just show that 6 games is not enough to evaluate any quarterback.
100%,
I think it gives the end goal of this is what I was trying to get
Yes.
to. This next quarterback, 2-4, completed 71% of his
pretty good.
passes.
That's really
almost
good.
1,500 yards, 7 touchdowns, 6 picks, a quarterback rating just shy of 90.
Joe Burrow.
No, it's not Burrow.
Oh.
Justin Herbert.
Nope.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Would this be good enough for you to stick?
Yes.
I know we're guessing. Tyvis, you would stick with this?
Yeah, I don't like the touchdowns to interceptions ratio, but everything else is solid.
I'd like to see more, but I'd probably take another quarterback.
Yeah, I'm taking another quarterback.
Taking a quarterback would be right if you followed this guy's career because this guy is Mac Jones.
Oh, boy. Wow.
First, I thought it was Trevor Lawrence, and I was like, yeah,
You
try
know
to take
what,
another
though?
quarterback too.
When he came out of college, he was very accurate. He kept that up in the league.
He's-
I mean, his rookie year was great. We kept saying,
They went to the-
my God, Bill did it again.
Yeah, they went to the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And they were.
so.
They
Yeah.
smoked the Browns.
I don't know. I don't think he
No.
was great. He was okay.
Was that
Yes.
You talking about the year?
When Miles said that we didn't make any adjustments defensively.
No, I thought that was Bailey Zappi.
Wasn't that Bailey Zappi?
No, it was a game up in Foxborough. Bailey Zappi beat him here. Go
Yeah.
back, double check me on that. I'm almost positive.
I
it
mean,
was
the
a
Browns
you
have
know
been smoked
what?
by a lot of teams.
You might be right because I was in the hospital that day. My
It was
daughter.
45-7. You're right.
Yeah, my daughter had.
Mac Jones,
got
3
sick.
touchdowns, no picks.
There you go. That was his
I watched
rookie year,
that game.
think.
I watched that game in the hospital.
Zappi beat them here. Up there, Max smoked them.
How many yards did Mac Jones throw for?
In that game,
Yeah.
198.
That's it?
That's it.
Yep, 3 touchdowns.
That's probably the only game in his career he threw 3 touchdowns, no
You
picks.
know that a good run
Nope,
games.
they beat Jacksonville 50-10 later that season. He had 3 touchdowns, no picks.
Look at that. Twice.
All right, next up.
Yeah.
Bill did it again.
Steve, this quarterback went 0-6.
I don't even know where he is now.
52% completion percentage, 965 yards, 3 touchdowns to 11 picks and a sub-50.
Golly.
Jared Goff.
It's not Jared Goff.
Where are you, Jared Goff?
to let it go.
I know he got off to a bad start.
He's
I guess
on
not
this
to-
list.
Joe
Jared Goff.
Burrow.
It's not
No,
Burrow.
Burrow was not that. No way.
Who could be that horrendous? This a first round pick?
Second-round pick.
It's got to be somebody good here.
Second round.
Second round pick.
Second round pick.
Bull says it's got to be someone good. I wouldn't have put him on here if he was that bad, would I?
Drew
No,
Brees.
you would. I mean, you put some in the last.
Oh, no, I did, because it's DeShone Kizer.
Ah!
Just show it. DeShone
Deshaun.
Kizer sucked after
Oh,
6
God,
games.
he was the worst.
And sucked for his career. So sometimes the 6 games is enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is.
Not that he was ever going to be good, but in fairness to DeShone Kizer, he had no business
chance.
playing that year. And they just put him out there. They had nobody else to play. I don't even remember. Who
All right,
else did
next
they
up.
have?
Cody Kessler, Kevin Hogan. I was
This
there.
next quarterback was a number 1 overall pick. Number 1 overall, Bull. In his first 6 starts, 2-4, 59.1%.
Jared Goff.
1,471 yards, 9 touchdowns, 7 picks, 85.7 quarterback rating.
Jared Goff.
No.
You said
Joe
he was-
Burrow. It's Joe Burrow.
It's not Burrow.
Kyler Murray.
Oh, yeah, Burrow wouldn't have had 7 interceptions.
Kyler Murray.
Not Kyler.
First overall
First
pick.
overall pick, huh?
Could it be Jared Goff?
Carson Wentz.
He wasn't the
He wasn't
first.
the first
number
overall.
one.
He was the
Oh, he
second
wasn't number
overall
1.
pick.
Jared Goff was.
That's right.
Is it Jared Goff?
Yes.
No.
No, it's not Jared. No, he wasn't. He didn't throw 9 touchdowns his first 6 games, I don't think.
Number 1 overall.
Sam Bradford. Was he number
Nope.
1 overall?
Yes, he was.
Give you a hint, he's
Jamarcus.
played for the Browns.
This dude?
RG3.
No, he was number 2 overall pick.
Oh, yeah.
Steve, let's show
Tim
him.
Couch.
It's Jameis.
Oh,
Famous Jameis. We got a couple. We're gonna do 2 more.
we should've
We'll
known
do 2 more, and then I want to have the discussion. Next blind resume, Steve. This quarterback went 0-6, 53.5% passing, 969 yards, 5 tutties.
Jared Goff.
It is Jared Goff. You got it, bro. There you go. There you go.
I told you his numbers sucked.
He's sick.
We finally got there.
All right, last one we're gonna do here. Last one. This quarterback threw for 4.
Oh,
There you see the stats. 1-5, 3 touchdowns, 5
Jeez.
picks, sub 65
that is
quarterback
awful.
rating.
Bernie Kosar.
No.
Tim Couch.
Nah, he didn't go back that far.
He said 20. Well,
Tim Couch
Tim
was,
was- he was more than
rookie
20.
26 years ago.
Let me ask this question. Do you think this quarterback turned out to be any good?
yes. Yep. That's
No.
why you. That's why you put it on there. Yep.
Steve, show him who it is. Did this quarterback turn out to be any good? No, he didn't.
Dang.
All right, we do have one last one. I promise.
Oh, is that
this will be the
Brady?
last
I
one.
didn't even know who that was. Is that
Brady.
Brady?
Brady Quinn.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, last one. 2-4, lots of yards. This guy's a little older, the oldest of the group. Not super old, but the oldest of the group. So think of the era. It's era pre the wide open passing.
So
era
older
right
than
now.
Manning and Brady.
Yes,
But not as old as Aikman.
but not as old as Aikman. Knowing that and taking these numbers into consideration,
Steve McNair.
it's not Steve McNair. This guy was a 2nd-round pick.
Second round.
Second round quarterback.
Older than Brady,
Older than Brady, you say?
Yeah.
but not as old as Aikman.
So this was before, more than 20 years ago that this guy was.
I said this is the oldest guy, yeah.
Yeah. So
Older than Brady, but not Aikman. So we talking 90s, right?
yeah. 2nd round pick.
See,
90s.
Steve Young,
He was drafted
Joe Montana.
in 91.
91.
Oh, I wasn't even alive.
Oh my God! Why do you do that? You say things like that, and it gives me 7 strokes.
I was in college.
3-time MVP.
I had
if
already
that
dropped
helps.
out of college.
3-time MVP, 91. Man, I knew every pick. of
Kurt-
that.
not
Kurt
coming
Warner. No, he wasn't
No.
drafted.
Early 91.
Steve, show him.
Oh, Favre.
Favre
All right,
didn't
so
go
now
in
that you've
first
seen the
round?
blind
No,
resumes
Southern
and the
Mississippi,
results
second
of
He had
about 20
he had
different
problems.
quarterbacks,
He was ripping off people even back then.
would it be fair, and life isn't fair, I totally understand that,
Yeah.
to make an evaluation on Shedeur or Dillon if they get 6 or fewer starts?
No,
Of course not.
Yes. I'd have to see
You
what
can't have a complete evaluation
but
on that.
you can.
But the
you
bottom
can
line
see
is, this is going to come down to where the Browns are in the draft next year, how high they could get to.
Well, they're not picking in the top 5. So.
Well, they probably are picking
let him
in the
finish
top
his statement.
5. You
Let
can
him
live in
finish
La
his
La
statement.
Land all you want there, Tyvus. The odds are they're picking in the top 5. And this is really not about Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel will probably not be able to play enough to be considered a short thing going into next year. Is that fair to say?
Depending on how many games they got.
I know that, but I'm saying my hypothesis is they're probably not going to play enough where we know for sure they're the answer.
I'll give you that. Yes.
So if
It's
that's the
probably true.
case, it's going to come down to what quarterback can I get? Is it a quarterback that feels like, oh, this guy's clearly the next franchise quarterback? If that's the case, then they're going to take him. If it's not, then maybe you stick with the guys you have and draft,
I just feel like
a wide receiver or whatever.
I feel like this. Then I feel like this year's just a waste.
Well, it's
a transition year.
Will you stop with
You
that?
just said it.
Tyvus,
I don't want
I'm agreeing with
I don't
you.
want to believe that.
Okay,
There's no way that they've already done it once.
And they're about to do it again.
I just don't understand what's the point of wasting time.
but what was their other option?
Oh, now you're on my side.
What do you
You've
mean?
been screaming at me for months that this was the wrong call.
What specifically?
Tanking and waiting till next year to get a quarterback, and that's a
You
bad
said what
plan.
was the other option? I don't know. Draft one in
Well,
the first round this year.
I would
take
play
Jackson Dart.
I would play the young quarterbacks, and maybe I can avoid drafting quarterback, and then I have 2 high picks to get good players around them. That's why I would play. If either one of them were close, like we're ready to go, I would 100% start one of them week 1.
I agree,
But
I don't think it's going to be the case.
in the end, the other option, the Browns were not going to be good this year, most likely, no matter what they did, because they suck at quarterback as of now.
So if let's say that they would have drafted Cam Ward, would your thoughts have changed on this season?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
They had the second pick in a 1 quarterback draft.
You got to be kidding me.
What? If they had Cam
wait,
Ward,
wait, hold on, wait a minute.
If they had Cam Ward, they would have their quarterback of the future.
So let me get this right. If they would have took Cam Ward,
Yeah.
you'd be more higher on this season.
Oh, on this season?
Yes.
No. My outlook on this season would be completely different from what it is because they've already got their franchise quarterback in place.
All right.
But
Thank
I'm
you.
not. I don't think they're
Now,
necessarily.
I was about to jump over this chair.
No,
Like, you got to be kidding me.
No, I don't think that Cam Ward raises their win total to your delusional level of 8 and 9 and whatever like that.
No. They have the roster for that already. He would have took them to the playoffs.
My outlook on this season would have changed because they would already have their franchise quarterback in place. They do not.
Right.
So this season is all about biding time and waiting to have the opportunity to go get a franchise quarterback.
All right.
I don't like it. That's just the reality.
Let's switch
It
from.
just sounds like tanking to me. That's what it sounds like.
Let's-
Well,
it
that's
is.
because it is.
Let's